Nepal is a genuine enigma where traditions and modernity clash like two titans in a wrestling ring. Did you know that in this country, a real, living goddess still resides? This is not some fabricated myth, but a verifiable young girl revered as a living deity. And while you are at it, forget about McDonald's. There's not a single one to be found in Nepal. However, there is a temple where rats are fed milk. Yes, you heard that right, and that is just the tip of the iceberg. Why do men voluntarily retreat to secluded monasteries, where they may remain silent for years on end? And how about this idea? In a country where incomes are not exactly impressive, they construct lavish cremation sites. This is no laughing matter. And here is another intriguing detail. There exists an ancient tradition that forbids women from being at home during menstruation. What does this look like in the present day? And of course, it is worth mentioning one of the most secluded tribes on the planet, which almost no one ever reaches. Nepal is a nation of contrasts, brimming with secrets and astonishing customs, where antiquity exists side by side with stark modernity. Are you ready to immerse yourself in this incredible world? Let us delve into it. Fact number 1, Nepal, beyond Mount Everest. Treasures of culture and spirit. To be fair, some might say, Nepal? That's just Mount Everest. Yes, I understand that this giant attracts attention and inspires the dreams of mountaineers, but let's take a broader view. Nepal is not just mountains. It is a veritable cultural melting pot, nestled between India and China, where every corner exudes history. In this country, you will encounter ancient temples that seem to safeguard the secrets of millions, and vibrant religious traditions that flourish here like grapes in the sunshine. The blending of Hinduism and Buddhism is not merely a figure of speech, but a genuine symphony, where each teaching resonates in unison, creating a unique sound of life. In Nepal, you will not only find tourists dreaming of conquering peaks. Here, real people live with their own customs and beliefs. And as you explore the local rituals, do not forget to observe how the local people respectfully regard nature and the world around them. This is not just an interesting fact, but a vital part of their identity. So, if you thought Nepal was solely about Mount Everest, you have clearly missed out on a wealth of fascinating things. Fact number 2, Kumari, the living goddess of Nepal, or how a little girl becomes a deity. Did you know that Nepal has a living goddess? Yes, you heard correctly. Kumari is a girl who is chosen according to strict criteria, and she becomes an object of worship for several years. Her life is not easy. The girl must rigorously adhere to the rules. And one of the most interesting aspects is that she is not allowed to walk. Imagine being carried around like a real princess. At the same time, the Kumari must be immaculate and flawless, which makes the selection process quite complex. If she loses her status, for example, as a result of illness or even simply beginning to menstruate, she will be removed from her divine throne, and she will return to ordinary life. Sad, isn't it? But however it may sound, for many Nepalese, this is a sacred ritual that preserves ancient traditions. The Kumari is not just a girl, but a symbol of the connection between the world of humans and the world of gods. And despite all the stereotypes, this phenomenon is truly awe-inspiring and perplexing. So, if you ever find yourself in Kathmandu, do not miss the chance to see this living legend in action. Fact number 3, where fast food is not in vogue. Here is a fact that will surprise many. There are no McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, or Starbucks locations in Nepal. Yes, you heard correctly. In a country where tourists flock to temples and hiking trails, fast food chains seem to have forgotten about their existence. And this is not just a coincidence, but for perfectly understandable reasons. Local residents prefer national dishes, such as dal bhat, momo, and chapati. And street food here is not just a snack, but a genuine gastronomic culture. Delicious steamed dumplings, spicy snacks, and fresh fruits. This is what truly attracts Nepalese people and tourists. What is preventing international chains from entering the market? It is all about fierce competition with local producers and complex bureaucracy. Nepalese people do not need hamburgers when they have their own traditional dishes, which are not only filling but also delicious. So if you decide to eat in Nepal, do not expect fast food. Instead, visit the market, where local chefs prepare real culinary masterpieces right before your eyes. Ultimately, Nepal is a country where local cuisine reigns supreme, and global chains can only envy. Fact number 4. A temple where rats are fed milk. Yes, you heard correctly. This is not a plot for a horror movie, but a reality in Nepal. In this amazing temple, dedicated to the goddess Durga, rats are not just rodents, but truly sacred creatures. Imagine entering a temple, surrounded by throngs of worshippers who look at these furry creatures with reverence as if they were not rats, but saints. Here, they are fed milk and sweets, and this is considered the highest expression of respect. In Nepal, rats are revered because they symbolize fertility and abundance. Legend has it that the soul of a deceased woman can transmigrate into a rat, and that is why they must not be offended or killed. They are cared for like stars. Special priests ensure that the rats are fed and healthy. If you decide to visit this temple, be prepared to forgo the classic "you, a rat" reaction. Here, they are not just animals, but genuine participants in a religious ritual. And who would have thought that these rodents could become so deeply ingrained in the culture and religion of a country where every creature has its own significance? Nepal continues to amaze with its traditions, and this temple is a vivid example of that. Fact number 5. Friends on 4 paws, a holiday that captures hearts. In Nepal, there's a holiday that simply boggles the mind with its originality. Kukur Tihar. It is not just a day when you can pet a dog and feed it treats. Here, everything is much more serious. Every year, on a particular day, Nepalese people dress their 4-legged friends in finery, treat them to delicacies, and shower them with flowers, as if they were genuine stars. Just imagine, the streets are filled with dogs flaunting bright garlands. And this is not just a whim, but a deep-rooted tradition that dates back to the Hindu calendar. On this day, dogs are considered sacred and are treated with reverence, as if they were real members of the family. Do not believe it. In Nepal, it is believed that dogs are guides to the world of the dead, and they protect their owners from evil spirits. In short, if you ever want to feel like a true canine boss, you should definitely visit this holiday. But be warned, if you do not like dogs, you will definitely not enjoy it here. There is fun, barking, and puppy dog eyes everywhere. This festival is an excellent example of how culture can intertwine with everyday life, creating unique rituals that make you think about the value of friendship. Fact number 6. Silence is golden. How men give up words for enlightenment. In Nepal, there is such a practice that no words are needed to understand. This is not just seclusion, but a real shock to the mind of modern people. Here, men, and sometimes women, go to monasteries and remain silent for years. They voluntarily renounce communication in order to delve into themselves and find inner peace. This is not some fashionable trend, but a profound spiritual practice where silence becomes an instrument of self-knowledge. Imagine. No talk about politics, no gossip about neighbors, only silence and reflection. Monks and retreatants, as they are called, sit in meditation, sometimes for several hours at a stretch, and seem to lose touch with the real world. This practice helps them to get rid of unnecessary noise in their heads and to hear themselves. If you think this is just a way to escape from everyday life, you are sorely mistaken. It is not just about silence, but about a genuine search for the meaning of life, which in our hectic world is often lost among gadgets and the endless flow of information. Some of them return with a completely different outlook on life, as if they have received a firmware update. If you want to try it, be prepared. It is not just about turning on Do Not Disturb mode, but real work on yourself. It is hard to imagine what it means to spend a year without saying a word, but for some, this is the very path to enlightenment that is worth taking. So, if you are looking for meaning, perhaps you should consider shutting up, at least for a minute. Fact number 7, crematory as a palace. Pashupatinath, a place where wealth and poverty meet in one ritual. Forget about quiet cemeteries and gray graves. In Kathmandu, everything happens in the open air, and this is not just a farewell to life, but a real spectacle. The Pashupatinath temple, a sacred place for Hindus, gathers crowds of people every day, eager to see their loved ones depart for another world. Here, cremations take place on the banks of the Bagmati River, and the sight, believe me, is impressive. This temple is not only one of the most important in Nepal, but also a place where people aspire to go before death. Why? Because it is believed that dying here means gaining access to moksha, liberation from the cycle of rebirth. On the day of cremation, everything looks like a carnival performance. Relatives in white, burning wooden pyres, and rituals that can take several hours. It may sound creepy, but it is not about fear, but about acceptance. People cry, laugh, and reminisce. There's no room for embarrassment or hypocrisy here. And while you may think that this is unacceptable, Nepalese people have a different attitude towards death. It is a part of life, not its end. So, if you decide to take a look into this world, be prepared for complete immersion and unusual sensations. Pashupatinath is not just a place of farewell, but a real arena where different worlds collide, and where death does not become something dark, but a part of the great theater of life. Fact number 8. The Tsung tribe, lost in the mountains. Forget about tourist routes and Instagram posts. I'm telling you about a people who do not know what Wi-Fi and Instagram are. These people live in the mountains of Nepal, and if you were hoping to meet them over a cup of coffee, forget it. They are in complete isolation from the outside world, and their language and customs have remained unchanged for centuries. The Sung, as they are called, lead a life that has not been spoiled by globalization or mass tourism. Their villages are located at altitudes that no modern transport can reach. Just think, they do not know about smartphones, and traditional rites are not a fashionable trend, but the foundation of their existence. Every day for them is not just a routine, but a continuation of a 1,000-year history that they write themselves. Yes, there is no electricity or television in this tribe, but they have their own rituals, songs, and dances that are passed down from generation to generation, like ancient tales. Look at it from a different perspective. Perhaps it is this isolation that allows them to preserve their identity, while we, the inhabitants of big cities, lose ourselves in the endless pursuit of novelties. Would you risk visiting the Sung tribe, where life flows at its own pace, and where even your wildest expectations of primitive traditions can be turned upside down? Fact number 9. Prayer without borders. Hindus and Buddhists in one temple. Think for a moment. What is it like when two of the world's most powerful religious currents, Hinduism and Buddhism, peacefully coexist under one roof? In Nepal, such a picture is not uncommon, but an everyday reality. Just imagine, you enter a temple, and around you there are statues of Ganesha and images of Buddha, and no one even thinks about conflict. It is as if one cafe sold both burgers and samosas, and no one argued about which was better. People come here not to find out whose faith is more correct, but simply to pray, to ask for health or good luck. They may not even distinguish which god they are addressing. In this place, holiness and spirituality are intertwined in such a way that one might think that these are not just temples but real cultural laboratories. The eternal question here is, how is this possible? The answer is simple. In Nepal, religion does not divide, but unites. Ordinary people who go to prayer every morning understand that their common goal is inner peace and harmony, not the creation of barriers. This is not about imposing dogmas and fighting for the rightness, but a real symphony of faith, where everyone sings their part in unison. So if you want to see how two worlds can coexist perfectly, go to Nepal. Here, religious disputes remain outside the doors of temples, and inside there is an atmosphere of respect and understanding. Fact number 10. In search of the Yeti, the abominable snowman, in Nepal. Consider what it is like to live in a country where the legend of the Yeti is not just an old tale, but a part of everyday reality. In Nepal, especially in the Himalayas, these stories about the abominable snowman are passed down from mouth to mouth like cherished secrets. Sherpas, who know the mountains like the back of their hands, tell stories of encounters with this mythical creature. They describe huge footprints left in the snow and rustling in the mountain forest that make the heart skip a beat. Do you think this is just a figment of the imagination? No, it is a serious matter here. Expeditions, full of brave and desperate adventurers, set off into the mountains, hoping to capture at least a shadow of the Yeti on camera. And you know what is interesting? Many of them return empty-handed, but with heads full of stories about mysterious sounds and strange signs. It is like hunting for ghosts, only instead of an abandoned house, there are formidable peaks. In this mysterious world where every turn can be the beginning of a new story, the legend of the Yeti continues to live on, fueling interest in Nepal and its unique culture. If you are bored, just imagine yourself trudging along snowy trails, hoping to meet the abominable snowman. And who knows, maybe you are not just a tourist, but the next adventurer who will learn the truth about the Yeti. Fact number 11. A treat from the Nepalese. Dal bhat, a national culinary cult. If you have ever wondered what Nepalese people eat, then prepare for a revelation. Dal bhat is not just food, but a real philosophy of life. Imagine rice, which is like a white canvas, and two bowls.